Well, hello and welcome back, and thanks for coming back today. Well, if you're familiar with the channel, you know that we are on our descent from Army Village through Konya Village, and of course we're going down to Paphos. So we're going to go for a bit of a wiggling around in and around Paphos town centre, and of course I'd like you to join me. I'd like your company because, as you understand if you follow the channel, I'm on my own. Misochi Receviera booth is on a mission in downtown Tbilisi, Georgia, to give you an update. So far everything is going very, very smoothly, and hopefully tomorrow the funeral of her father Edward will take place. Quite a sad day obviously in our lives, particularly for Marika and her mother Hope and our daughter Ella, but they are strong girls and they'll get through it and they'll come out fighting, that's for sure. Now on to a more positive note. We wish everyone who follows the channel a very, very happy new year, and of course a very, very prosperous new year. Now, if you're wondering what time of year it is, first week of January 2023, and Miss Dawn, Mr. Sean, if you're sitting there eating your breakfast and you're curious to know what the temperature is, well, according to the Mercedes today, it's 19 degrees and it is 15 minutes past 10. So there we go. And that's that blue sky. And I think if you look very carefully over yonder, way out beyond downtown Paphos, you can see that blue Mediterranean Sea. And if you're very, very good, guess what? We'll finish at the water's edge and you will get to see the blue Mediterranean Sea. Now, let's give you some bearings of where we are. We've come down from Armu Village through Konya, and now we are rapidly approaching the downtown Limassol roundabout. So this is a roundabout where if you go left, you go flying up the bypass, up the dual carriageway, up the motorway, whichever you choose to call it, and eventually you would end up in Limassol. Obviously you keep going and go to Larnaca or Nicosia, but that's about it, because if you do understand, Paphos is on the island of love, which is Cyprus, and well, the word island tells you that you can't drive that far, unless of course we were to get one of those James Bond Lotus Esprits. Nice car that, from about 1977. Anyway, there we go. But we're in a more conventional car, a Mercedes E-Class, one of the greatest cars in the world. This one's quite an old one, but as I've told everyone, I'm never going to sell this car. I've owned it for 6 years, and it is the greatest car that I've ever owned, and I've owned quite a few. So wherever we go on our travels, and I mean that, this car is coming with me. The only reason to not come with me is if, well, something catastrophic was to happen to it, for example. But otherwise, wherever we go, this car will come. So if you stay with the channel for the rest of your life, you will continue to see this car for the rest of your life. Anyway, here we are. We're starting our descent into Paphos town itself. Coming up on the left-hand side, McDonald's. Now, we know a lot of people do like McDonald's, but we know two people in particular, Miss Andrea and Mr. Mart. They really like McDonald's, and they've got all sorts of vouchers. And Andrea was only saying when she comes to Paphos for the whole day in February, should she bring her vouchers and should she bring her Costa card. I think you can bring your Costa card and get points, but as for your McDonald's vouchers, they'll just look at you and tell you to off. Anyway, here we are. The Neon Mall, the Mall of Paphos, is getting ready to open over there. What's actually going on, we don't know. We think it's a supermarket and 4 or 5 shops going to open up, so it's not really that much of a mall. But remember, in Cyprus things are a lot smaller, shall we say. Let's take a right and take you on a route that you've not been on before. You've heard me mention that there's an MG dealer in downtown Paphos, and there is. It's on the right hand side here, and as I mentioned the other day, they haven't got any stock. I was talking to Stavros, the manager, only the other day, and they've had 6 MGs in since November, and they've sold all of them. So slowly but surely electric cars are catching on. Me personally, I don't see it, I don't get it. I have severe range anxiety, shall we say, and on top of all that, I'm a bit of a petrol head, so the thought of driving around in a car that doesn't actually make a noise, not for me. But there you go, I'm getting old. and I'm a little bit stupid. There we go. So you've got a gym over here. People have asked about gyms, but I think they're looking for gyms in the downtown Cato Paphos area. And to be honest, there's a lot of gyms down there, but of course they are in the hotels themselves. And unless you're staying in the hotel, they will not allow you to use the gym, which of course is understandable. So we'll keep looking out, and when we do find one down there, we'll let you know. Bit of improvements going on at this roundabout. As you can see, they're building a bit of a fancy structure so that well, adds a bit of beauty to the area, shall we say. We're going to go straight over here, and we're going to go down this street, which is going to bring us out towards the rear of the Paphos Courts area. Yeah, and normally there's a bit of action going on there. Normally you've got Gumbaros in blue and people and lawyers and all that sort of stuff. You never mind, my lawyer Saba might be there. He might be in the courts discussing the pluses and minuses to driving around while holding a selfie stick while filming. Is it technically correct or is it not, Your Honour? And Your Honour will be saying, well, is it a foreigner that's doing it? And he'll say yes, and he'll say fine him. That's what we're going to do, because they do like to fine us foreigners, that's for sure. So if you're whizzing around in a car, whether you've stolen it, rented it or borrowed it, please be careful and abide by the traffic laws. A lot of people who are unfamiliar with areas do things like U-turns. Don't do it, because it could be a Gumbaro in blue waiting for you. And if he catches you, oof, big smile comes on his face as he issues you with that on the spot fine. I think it's about 60 euros for doing that. Another, don't park in disabled spaces either, because that's a 300 euro fine. Where are we now? This is the rear of the Paphos Courthouse, but of course Mr. Paul forgot we're in the middle of a holiday, so it's closed. Here's a geezer doing a U-turn now, and if there was any Gumbaros about, they'd have him, that's for sure. Now, where are we? We're coming up to one of the main intersections, and we're going to wiggle and waggle, and I'm going to take you towards the old town. Over there you've got an architect's office. On the right hand side here you've got someone who's, well, he's going to masquerade as the next president, so they say. Christolides, maybe a nice guy, maybe not, who knows, we're going to find out, eh? Most presidents always come across as very, very nice, and then when they've lost office you find out they've been the most corrupt little sods in the world. Anyway, saying the world over, here we go, that's the rant over for today. Now we're heading now towards the main Bank of Cyprus, or as I call it, my bank, because that's where I bank, in the main Bank of Cyprus in downtown Paphos. And it's literally right in front of us. It's the left building of these two buildings. That's Uptown, main branch of Bank of Cyprus in Paphos. And that's where I bank. Haven't got any money in it, but that's where I bank. Whenever I walk in there and check my account, they look at me as if I am a little piece of, well, Sherlock Holmes, should we say. Never mind. You never know, one of these days I might get to save a little bit of money. I do try to save, and then something comes along and takes my money away. And it happens over and over and over and over again. But I know that's a familiar thing for most people. You amass a small fortune, and then something happens, and that small fortune becomes nothing. Now, there's a lot of digging going on in Paphos, so you have to go on these wiggle-waggle detours. So most of these streets you will never ever get to see on any other video, because most people driving around Paphos haven't got a clue where they're going. Now, luckily for Mr. Paul, I'm one of these people who likes to carve up every single street and millimetre of wherever I live. Now, obviously I don't know what the street names are called, but normally if you are a customer and you phone me up and you're trying to tell me where you live, I just say to you, what supermarket do you go to? And then I say, now guide me home. And I listen very carefully, and I always understand exactly where you are. I don't have a photographic memory, but I almost do. Now we're joining the one-way system in the old town, and we're coming to it in the unconventional way, shall we say, because of all the detouring. But at this little intersection here, that's an American word there, we're going to take a left because we have to. Well, actually we're in Cyprus, so we don't actually have to. We could go straight down the no entry signs, and we could actually even go right, because, you know, it's Cyprus. It's quite lax, and you can just say, oh, sorry. But we're going to follow the traffic laws, and we're going to go left. So stick with us. We are now in the old town of Paphos. Quite a nice place, quite a quaint place. And if you are coming to Paphos, please take the time to come up to the old town. Most people are down in the harbour area, and they tend to be here for the sun and the sea and the food and the drink. But if you take that time to walk up, it'll take you about half an hour to walk, and then at the end of the day, I was looking at Gumbaru in blue. There's a chap 2 cars back now. This one just let me out, luckily, because 2 cars behind him are a couple of Gumbarus in, well, one of those cars with flashy lights and blue stripes on it, and it's got that word police. Not that anyone takes that much notice of them, but like I say, I am a foreigner, and I do have a funny thing resting on my knee with a funny thing on the end of it. So let's not try and attract too much of their attention, and let's go for a bit of a wiggle and a waggle down this way, because again, you will never have been down these streets with anybody else. So this is deep inside the old town, early in the morning. All right, there's holidays going on, so there's not a lot going on, and you can't park anywhere either. Now if you keep going straight there, you would literally go into the old town square. So these are the more newish part of the old town, shall we say. You've got a massive car park over there. But if you go hunting back through some of our older videos, a couple of months back now, you noticed that we came into this car park with all the intentions in the world of wanting to pay, and then we discovered that they decided to block up the pay terminals because, well, Paphos has become a smart city. What does that mean? Well, what it means is that cash is no longer accepted. Now you have to get an app, and you have to pay on your app, or you have to pay a monthly fee, I'm in fear, that's for sure, or you have to pay a monthly fee to the municipality to allow you to park a car, just to make things more difficult for people. I thought in this modern times that the idea was to make things easier for people. You know, what was wrong with putting a euro in the machine? That's what I want to know. What was wrong with that? Because you've still got to pay the little Gumbarus on the mopeds to race round to check the cars. So why have you made it that little bit harder? Anyway, that's me whinging and whining. It must be because I am 2 things. Very, very stupid, and obviously very, very old. Anyway, we're wiggling and baggling. Baggling? I'm losing my English. Even though Marika's not with me, she's stealing my English. Now, if you're new to the channel and you've not met Marika yet, because obviously now these videos have been going on for a week, and I have noticed that 1 or 2 people have joined the family, subscribed, while I'm just driving around on my own. Well, if you go hunting back through videos from 2 weeks ago, you're going to find the most beautiful woman in the world. Her name is Marika, and the title I've given her is Miss Booth, the most beautiful woman in the world. So guess what? She'll be back with us as a co-pilot, or in fact she'll be the pilot and I'll be the co-pilot. So then of course I haven't got to worry about Gumbarus in blue catching me with a selfie stick in my hand while I'm driving around filming. But anyway, back to the more trivia. She'll be back with us in around about a week, and when she comes back, if you haven't met Miss Booth, ooh, you're in for a shock, because she's the cleverest and most beautiful woman in the world. And on top of all of that, she's very, very funny indeed. Far, far more funny than me. Now, wiggling and waggling through the old town, you're going to come now to a place which has a truly spectacular view. I'm pretty sure you understand that just over yonder is the blue Mediterranean Sea. So this is the road that takes you around the outer extremity of the old town. You've got cafes and restaurants on the right hand side, a spectacular view down all the way to Tomb of the Kings and way beyond to Cape of Paphos, and of course across the blue Mediterranean Sea. The kind of place that's tranquil and beautiful, and on top of all of that, it takes your breath away. Now, it's that time, and I'm going to say thanks for watching, and of course if you do like what you see, please hit the like, click subscribe, and come back for a little bit more of our madness. And if you really like what you see, you might want to consider going through to our About page, where you can consider to buy myself a coffee, the beautiful Marika a coffee, yourself a coffee, and whoever else you would like to treat. And that will enable us to go further afield, perhaps carve up Limassol, Nicosia, Larnaca, you never know, Rhodes, Corfu, Crete and beyond. I'll let the film continue and fade out. Thanks for watching.